Hello, everybody. All right, we're just getting started. Hello, everybody. All right. All right, here we go. And here we go. We're going to get started. Feel free to say hi in chat. And let's jump into the project. All right, so today we're going to build a Remix app. So we got to make sure our database is running. And once that's up and running, we'll start our app. And so I've made really good progress. I'd say I'm 60, 70% there. And I'm pretty sure in the next couple hours that we'll be able to get this thing working. So I'm excited to jump into it. And I'll probably message some people letting them know I'm on. All right, so let's start up this project. href is going to be a 2. And we're going to go to, let's see. Our free plan, we're going to get started. All right, so I'm already logged in. So let's log out. Get started is get started. So we will to get started, and we're going to convert this anchor tag to a remix link. So 2, import that. All right, so the main thing I need to do right now for the next few minutes is gotta swap out these things. So pricing, get started, that works. Explore demo. So on my hero, we'll do the same thing. Link to demo. Explore demo. So here's my demo. It's not really what I want yet, but we'll get there. This is last week's work. Pricing, FAQ, help, blog. We're going to get rid of this. About, so about, we'll just say contributors. We will load that later. And then on our banner, what do I call this? Index. So we also want to update nav item. Link to, and we will swap these out. All right. So here's all my menu items. I'll make sure we do a better job at getting those set up. Pricing, I probably should center that. Large grid call 1. All right, so this is looking good. I know it's not perfect, but it's gonna get me started. So that demo I might drop. I might just show an example on the home page, I'm thinking. So in the header, we will get rid of demo. And the demo is interesting work, but I don't need to deal with it right now. Yeah, so we'll just get rid of it. All right, so I do need to make sure that I'm not telling people I have something that I don't. High-level view of areas of your life. Track ongoing activities, log events when they happen. So that's really all that I'm going to offer right now. Oh, you can't hear me very well? Yeah, we can crank it up. I just want to make sure I get this right. Thanks for letting me know. All right, that should sound a lot better. Welcome, Anton. Feel free to ask questions, man. We're just building a remix app. And so I have a lot of the functionality done. We're about to dive right into this. So I'm just sort of checking that these components are good. Free for all. Lorem ipsum is no good. Much better. Awesome. No credit card required. No commitment. No hidden fees. Just a helpful app. All right, so we're going to go with this for now. It's always funny because when you make stuff like this, I feel like you just end up never changing it. And so I want to make sure that it's at least decent right now. So I'm not having to mess with it later. Let's see. All right, so we're going to make a little bit of a game plan here. I'm going to open this up. We have written the blog post. I can show that off for a second. So this is a hackathon project, right? As I mentioned in the title. So Hashnode is the one putting it on. And I'm pretty happy with the blog post. Now I just have to finish the one of the main features, which is events. And so I'll give a quick overview of what we're building. So here's my draft. Hackathon submission. Check this out. So we've got our little preview. I'm using GIFs just because. And what is it? Inspiration, features. So here's the main thing to kind of show off right now. We have areas, activities, and events. And so areas, let's just dive into it, I guess. I've already got my login. So we'll log in and check it out. So these are my areas: travel, finances, fitness, dentist, volunteering, car. So we'll look at car, right? And we'll go into the area, and these are the activities. So tire rotation, oil change, inspection, wash. So these are the things I do with my car, right? And I want to find just a simple way to track when I get an oil change, when I get a tire rotation, and figure out how long it's been. And so you can't click on any of these yet. And so that's sort of the main next step is we need to click this, and we need to view the tire rotation activity so that we can add events. Once we do all that, I'm pretty happy with the product. I think it's good enough, and it's going to be shippable. And so that's what the next hour and 45 minutes will be. But yeah, we can create new activities. That's already done. If we go back to areas, we can create new areas as well. And so all this is working. I also have a little search bar. So if I type a search here, well, hold on, let's figure out. If we create another area, travel, finance, fitness, dentist, I guess we have like doctor. And so I can just say like doctor. So doctor and dentist are different, right? So I'll be like checkup. Doctor. This one's kind of funny. All right, so we'll just say, this one's kind of obnoxious, annual checkup. So if I was healthy, I would be getting an annual checkup, right? So this is sort of the fun of it. You can see fitness. I've got these two going. And look at how fast this is. I am so impressed at Remix at how quickly these pages load. And so you click it. I got retirement, taxes, and debt for my finances. But like it's just immediate. Now, some of it is that it's local, and so my database is very, very fast. But I don't know. I still think it's really fun volunteering. So if I want to volunteer at the food drive, I could also volunteer at volunteer. So art. Let's go with this guy, little Bob Ross, and we can say, so I live in Houston, Texas, so we're going to say the Bayou City Art Festival. That usually happens twice a year for me, so if you're ever in Houston, come hang out. But I think I spelled Bayou wrong, and so I do want to be able to edit things, but I think we got to not get too ahead of ourselves. But yeah, this is the app. This is sort of how it works. Pretty straightforward. I just think it's fun and different. My girlfriend came up with this idea of using GIFs, and so I think that's a really fun addition to all of this. So flossing, right? It's people flossing. So I'm having fun with this so far. We just have to decide now what to do next. So let's go to today. View activity events. So this is sort of the main next step. We need to add an event and then add an activity. Yeah, so the way that I see it right now, Anton, is that if there are too many GIFs, that would be an interesting problem to solve later. Right now I'm trying to just sort of ship this, and I wouldn't think that these would get too overwhelming. I could be mistaken, but even the fitness one, it's like you could have weight training and running and cycling and swimming, and like I guess the list could get really long, but I'm not that worried about it right now. Plus, if you go to like Jiffy's website, like there's going to be a lot of them loading on one page. And what I can tell that they so far do some sort of lazy loading, so they only render things as they're in view. And that's actually really pretty straightforward to implement if I thought that that was a useful addition in the future. So definitely an interesting challenge that I know more junior developers would want to know how to do. And so that would be an interesting idea in the future. So very good point. All right, so let's get this working. I think I'm going to change this React component and make things a little bit more reusable. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So we'll go ahead and close what I've got. We have an image. We're going to remove Jiffy search. We have GIF search modal. That's the thing that's kind of driving the choosing of which image you want. I guess I'll just extend this. So we can have title. Actually, you know what? I have two kinds of images I want. So I guess we're going to just do an image link. And the image link is, so we'll do image link. and we'll do image. So this is going to have two props. One is the image URL, and the other one is the link. I guess we'll just say 2. And then we'll have a title or name. So image URL to name. And image URL. Cool. So we'll do this link to image URL, and then I have an h2, which will be the name. So this is sort of the main structure of the app, because we're just seeing, and for some reason I'm having an issue with this default image. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with this import. From image. All right. So basically, if we go back to areas, index, we loop through them here. And this guy is going here. All right, so this is what I want to replace, basically. So we have a group on the link. And we will delete all this. And this just becomes the name. Now the real trick will be, what do I want to do if there's no image? Okay, so at this point I've decided Prisma, in case you're wondering, the image URL is now a required field. It is not optional. So that made it easier for me generally, because the UI, you'd have to render it conditionally if the image was there or not. Same with form logic when you're deciding what's on the form and what's not. And so I just decided, you know what, it's a lot easier for me if I just make the image always required on creation. Simplifies the code. All right. So with that being said, that means that I can assume that the image is going to be there. So we'll say image link. We'll update that. And so it becomes image URL, name. Check it out. It just sort of all works. All right. So the 2 is I think I can just do that. So Remix offers relative linking, and so depending on where you are, you can have a relative path, and it'll take you to wherever it is that you're telling the link to end up. So we'll just sort of depend on that right now. And let's okay, get rid of that, and let's see how we're doing. Okay, cool. So that's the same, but it brings me down to this. And what I want to do next is sort of repeat the process. So we've got our finances, and then these aren't links, right? These don't do anything yet. And so that's what we want to implement. Now I'm trying to decide how I want to structure the URL still. So I just have to make that decision now. So that is index, and we have area, ID, index. And so these list the activities, and we'll just replace what we had. So it becomes, we'll just replace the area with activity. And that's an image link. All right, so now it's not quite that straightforward. It's going to create an ID and then an ID, which I don't think is all that helpful. But we'll always know which activity an ID is associated with. So I'm okay with that. Or I'm okay with dealing with it that way. And what I mean by that is, let's just do it. All right, so I think what we'll do is we will say to activities/activity ID. And I know that won't exist yet. So if we click on that, it's going to say not found. You know what? I can do this. Let's just do... Let's do it that way. All right. So what that looks like then is we have this area ID, and then we have activities, and then we'll have an activity ID. So for now, we'll do nested. I can always rearrange this later. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But as long as I get it right, it should all load fine. So we have activity ID .tsx. Now this is the directory. And so the way that it works, activity ID. I keep messing this up. All right, make dir. You have a folder. So here's this folder called area ID. And then if you name a file with the same name, so activity, we have activity ID. If we touch activity.tsx. So now this file can work as like a layout, basically. Let's make sure we remove that. So what I've been doing mostly lately is activities, activity ID, is I'm just copy and pasting. And then I'm replacing everything. So we have delete, so this action doesn't matter. We're not going to have an image anymore. Perhaps we will. All right, so what we'll return here is an activity. Now that won't exist yet. Get activity. So that comes from activity ID, and we can just sort of now replace all this. And so get activity comes from the activity server, and so this server file is like all of our CRUD operations. We're not going to get area anymore. So this loader, and check this out. You can just say type of loader, so whatever is returned here will show up there. And so we know that this is activity. We can return a not found, and then activity, activity. And so instead of back to areas link, I can have a backlink to, I guess, up there area. Let's see how that looks. Hey. So the activity that I got, so we have finances, tax season. I should see taxes here. When I click this, I should see taxes here. Oh, this is a nested layout. All right, so because of our nested layout, I have to decide if I want to replace finances with a different route, which honestly might be a better, something better for us in general. So what's happening is, back to area. Oh. Let's just see if I can sort of not break this right now. Back to area. So that's what's happening now. So I can say back to activities. Interesting. I don't think this is what we want. I think we want to replace the screen. And so again, like I was saying, we want to pivot sometimes if things don't quite seem right. So let me know in chat if you think this is a good idea. But I think we should replace this screen so taxes will then replace finances completely. That's the path that I want to take. And so all that we have to do is move this activities folder. We will move it here to activities. So it becomes its own path. And so we'll go ahead and activity ID, area, ID, index. So this guy, we're going to not link to /activities. We're going to hard code it like that. And so what that will look like is when we click taxes, oh, come on. We want it hard coded. Let's restart it. Oh boy. Invalid route module. DS store, are you kidding me? All right. So those that don't know, macOS is notorious for creating these DS store files. And apparently, they cause Remix to crash. I may actually submit a quick ticket because that is a pain in the butt. We can literally just go up here, invalid route file. So again, it's a new platform. Issues, DS store, this breaks app. Oh. Interesting. So it's already set, but it seems to not be dealt with here. This guy also is dealing with it. So I have pulled a recent version of Remix. Starts with a dot. Weird. All right. Well, we won't spend a lot of time there, but that was odd. Is it going to show another error? Dang it. Yeah. All right. So well, there you go, kids. Don't open Finder. That's the rule, I guess. Let's rename window to dev. All right. So we're running again. My cookie's still good. And there we go. That's what I wanted. Look at this. Activities. Perfect. So we have travel, and then we have vacation. All right. So why don't I have my layout? We'll go ahead and get rid of things I'm not using. Okay, cool. So activities, no, not activities, areas, index. So areas, I guess. I specifically had before this like marketing page with pricing, about, blog, help, and then this section up here sends you to the app. But then this I had as a separate layout, and perhaps I can just make these all the same. For now, it would simplify the process in general. And so what that means is I can take this marketing layout and I can put it in the root if I want to. I don't know. I still like what I did. So the question right now is, how do I want to deal with this issue where the layout doesn't load? Dude, Hareem, if I'm saying that right, thanks, man. Glad you like to set up videos. You can watch me use my setup for the next hour if you want to hang out. We're building a remix app. All right, so chat, you're here. Let me know. What do you think I should do? Do you think we should use the marketing layout, like reuse it and just like have the app be the same thing, like just kind of blend them all together? Or should I create some sort of proper structure for the app? I think it's entirely possible. So we'll have like a app directory, and all of our folders are going to go into it if we have to do it this way. So we'll touch app tsx. So this guy would end up having area ID. It basically will look like this. Not area. Area? Areas. All right. So then this guy. Here. This becomes a header, logo, form, yeah, all this stuff. I would say let's go ahead and move it. I'm going to make the call since no one's said anything in chat. We're going to I don't need the area list items. I do want the user. I guess I need to, in general, this would simplify my life. If no user ID, we're gonna redirect user to login page if they are not logged in. Yes. So I'm doing the same thing or something similar on the marketing layout. So on my marketing page, I have this header, and the header has this optional user. And if the optional user is set, all right, so we'll follow this pattern. So this indie stack is doing it already. App, routes, notes. I thought it was here. There was like a redirect if the user is already, if the user's not logged in, it sends them back. Now let's see, logout is just going to be a request, notes, use user. I bet this is it. No user found, but is required. No, that's not it. So I've seen this pattern before. We just want to redirect the user. So let's see, maybe we'll just do redirect user ID. Yeah. So something like this. Join, login, logout, notes. That's on the action. Create user. All right, so it's not here. All right, well, that's fine. We will make do. I guess when you're logged in, you're going to end up somewhere. All right, let's see. All right, so we'll just play around with it and see what happens. It's something I can always add later. This is not a hard requirement for this feature. All right, so we're going to look at the app. And let's just say if no user ID, return redirect to login. That might be good enough for now, because this redirect is part of the node tooling. All right, so I always have this problem. Type so that it wants these things to be imported separately. Loader function is a type, and then redirect is a function. So now that we have that in our loader function, I don't need to worry about this. I can literally just return, and then we have this optional user thing. And so optional user, use optional user. So we will put that here. And, oh, actually, you know what? I think I've decided we can always show this, because if there's no user, we aren't going to be able to go to this page. And we can just test that by I'm going to have to move my routes around some, but we have our app. And so the double underscore, for those wondering, the double underscore is a way of creating a sort of route definition for nested routing without actually creating a path in your URL structure. And so what that means is if we go to /homepage/help, we can see that the marketing layout is active because we see the logo with the menu items and go to app. And underneath __ marketing, we can see that the help is shown here. And so it says /help. You can see that up here, /help, and then you can see that I'm just loading FAQs. That's all that's here. So that's something interesting to think about as you create the layouts that you want. And what that means for me, I don't do this as much, but I realized DS, we got to get away from the DS store. So move dir. Is it going to be move dir? It's not move dir. Every now and then you gotta move. Well, that's gonna be copy -r. All right, that's right. It's been a minute for me. So we got apps, routes. So we're not dealing with set theme today. Activities. So we're gonna copy activities to app. Really? All right, we're just gonna deal with it. So activities goes into app, areas goes into app. I actually kind of like this. Demo goes into app. Oh no, it can't. Demo goes into marketing. Action areas goes into app. All right. And check this out. Login is in the root routes directory. And so that's why, if you were noticing earlier, go to app. App didn't return any loader function. Please return the value or null. All right. I can do that. Let's return null. So the loader is literally just middleware. It's going to run just to make sure. Oh boy. We are returning null. I am returning null. I could also return that, I guess, as a quick workaround, but I do kind of want to investigate what that was about. All right. Please return a value or or null. I bet I gotta restart this guy, and I bet I'm gonna have a DS store issue. Man. Anyone has recommendations for how to get rid of this? I am all ears. Because that is still really annoying. Alright, we're back. Go to app. Alright, cool, we're back. And I have my layout. So now I have a double layout, which is fine because I just haven't cleaned up the other file yet. So JSON needs to go away. We have our app layout. We have areas. I guess this doesn't really matter right now. So is this going to not break anything? Okay, cool. So if you don't want to do nested layout, you can just omit those files. They're only useful if you want to overwrite sort of what's going on. So that's something definitely to keep in mind. So, doctor, activity, hey! And back to activities goes to the home page. All right. So let's go to activity. Let's go to my app, activities, activity ID. All right. And so that's the issue now. We can load the activity, but going up a directory is not going to work. Back to areas. We'll just go ahead and do that. Back to areas. Oh no, I think it'd make more sense to go back to the specific area. So we'll have area slash activity dot area ID. That makes the most sense. What is going on? Back to area. We'll close this in curly braces. So we'll go into vacation, showing vacation, and then we'll go back to area. And this is travel. So I wonder if, aside from area ID, I can get the activity. I want to like do a cross join and show the activity name potentially. So we just got to get, I got to get more familiar with Prisma. Let's do a join. Join Prisma. Relational join. So if I want to do a find, find first, args, subset fields, and I'm just sort of getting a sense of what I need to see here. So the args is a select subset, and then I can select and include. And so here, where connect area. It's not going to be like that, is it? I'm just sort of guessing here. Boolean is not assignable to never. Connect is never. So we go to the internet. Prisma, find first, join, optional field. That's going to be an update command. Don't really care about that. Any Prisma people out there want to tell me how this works? So, little context, I want to get I don't want to just return the activity ID. I want to return the activity. So select area, select name. Can I just sort of nest these? Oh, well, that's not supposed to be there. Let's see if that worked. So let's see. What is returned? Prisma activity client. All right, let's see. We'll reset that. We will get the activity. Activity.area.name. Look at that. Okay. So now I'm going to have to explicitly ask for the fields. So the way that select works, for those that don't know about Prisma, is that we can select which values we want to return. And so we will select area ID, true, name, true, image URL, true. So now I have to just be more selective about what fields I'm going to be returning. And then I can say back to activity area name. There we go. So now it should say back to travel. So it takes us back to travel, back to areas. So it's pretty basic, but it is doing its job. Now, I don't have a clean way of labeling these, and so you generally have to figure out where you are, or I have to create, I'm thinking of creating breadcrumbs, which would be a useful way of getting around. So you'd see areas, then the name of the area, and then activities, and then you would see the name of the activity. But that can come later, excuse me. So again, we want to just sort of find this momentum. So let me keep finding that momentum. Let's see, let's add some music. We can throw on some Sarita. Create a station. Sure. Let's do it. All right, so we have our area. We have our activity. Now we need to list events. So there's taxes and then events. All right, so this is a big step. We are an hour in. We have our app layout. We have the routes that we were trying to get set up for the next main stage. And so this stage is going to be events. And so again, we mentioned it here. We started areas. So we have our general areas. We have them listed here. These are like the big topics, the things that you're going to group together. So like car related stuff. And then after that, we have activities. And so these are things that you do on a repeated basis. Tire rotation, oil change. And so car wash, we can see, is that Britney Spears flipping off a car? All right, so we have her. We have car wash. These are going to be events, and I want to track when I've washed my car. Now let's go to, I think this one's interesting because I do it once or twice a week. So I'll be able to see regularly when I go about doing it. So we will go to areas, index. Oh, this all got changed. All right, so let's go ahead and commit this. Feature, add activity routes, and app layout. So we'll go ahead and call it that. So let's see if it builds. I think I was having problems before. Okay, it still builds. All right. So now we have our areas index. And this guy is the one I'm grabbing. So now we have our activities, activity ID. And we have our outlet. And now we need our index. And so again, we'll just sort of, let's see if I can do this. We're going to substitute area for activity. I'm going to break a bunch of things. Get activity from activity server. Activity, 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 activity. What is this guy saying? So I'm basically just going to load events. And I don't think the events will have images associated with them. It's a little bit overkill at this point to do it in every area. So I'm going to get the activity. The activity will load a list of so area has activities, activity has events. It's called function activity index page. Oh. It just wants me to capitalize it. All right. So when I go and get activity, we got the area name. We get events. So Prisma schema, let's check. We have an event. An event has a name, created at, update at, happened at. So the main thing now is making it super, super clear the details of the event. All right, so what does that mean? That means we need to be able to add events. So I guess we will start with that. Right? It only makes sense that we can actually make the thing exist. So all the things tracker, we have our activity index, and this will be events. I can spell today. All right. So wash, car wash, events. We will add activity placeholder. It will copy, make their events, touch, add event placeholder, add event placeholder, create a new event. So the way that we're going to see the difference, I guess I can leave it. So that goes away. I'm going to have to leave that open. I have these events. These aren't image links anymore. All right, so this will just be a div. Be something like this. An unordered list. And list item, key, event ID, event name. All right, so this isn't perfect, but it's a good start. And instead of, we'll do event placeholder. All right. How are we doing? Events. There we go. All right. So this guy. I think in general, I have this idea. Text, primary underline. And I could just do a quick little plus. Sweet. So the big difference here is it's not a grid anymore. This is just a different page. Kind of works a different way. When I hit this, create a new event. Let's see, what do we want to do here? Gonna quickly pull this up, give me a moment. All right, I'm just gonna kind of switch my browsers so it's easier for me to deal with. All right, so finally we have events, and I'm just gonna literally mark when I did something. So when we do this new.tsx, new area ID new, again, we'll just literally paste this in. This will create areas, right? Areas, activities. All right. So we will area. I don't know if this one existed, did it? So we're going to substitute activity for event. And this will be activity ID, and then we'll redirect to activities, activity ID, and that comes from params activity ID. Image URLs, we're not dealing with that. We're not even dealing with a name. I think the event right now is just, hey, this thing happened at this time. And that's, I think, all that I really care about. So we could just reach for React, a React calendar component. Yeah, all the things tracker's failing. All right, so. No, I don't really need that. React. All of GitHub. React calendar. React component calendar. I am using one at work. I guess we can see what that open source project is. React date picker. All right, so perhaps we just use React date picker. Okay, I guess this will work. So we will date picker. And so all we care about is that when we hit create new event, we'd be given a date as to when the event happened. You choose the date, you hit save, events logged. And that's literally it. That's all that we care about. What I will do, though, and what I've been learning about recently, is we will probably index the dates. And so that should work out pretty well. We've got, what, 30 minutes, 45 minutes? We can totally do this. All right, so we're going to create a new event. Activities. Yes, okay. So let's do it. Back to areas. So we have our activity new. Activity new. And let's put this guy here back to activity All right, let's just make sure I get that right. Back to activity. Is that how I named it? All right, let's see. Back to car. Back to activities. All right, so we're going to say back to events. Now let's see, do I need to capitalize it? I'm one of those people that pays attention to that stuff. Back to areas, capitalize. Back to activities, capitalize. All right, so then we'll do that. Fitness. Running. Actually, we're going to do this. I got... Dog. Activity. Walk. Walk. Dog. Alright, so this is fun. Let's see if we swap it. Anything better? This is cute, Arthur. Alright, so we're going to walk. Add events. Back to events. Create new events. I like it. Alright, so now we just got to finish, don't we? Event. Image URL is not a part of this. So we'll say when. So post MVP, we will add like, where did you do it? How much money did it cost? If it's like an oil change or something like that. And if it's a doctor's appointment, like who was your doctor? And so what I want to do is I want these events to be more modular. So you could store different types of data if you find it valuable. And then more importantly, like setting some useful defaults. So if you like go to the same car place every time you get a car wash and you want to specify where you got your car wash, you could just say, you know, the idea would be going back to dog. You just say, okay, well, car wash, add event, when, today. You just don't have to fill out any of the other defaults because they're just already set, and then you would just hit save. So that's an idea that I have, but I think that's going to come later. So what that means is, let's go ahead and look at date picker. React date picker. Here we go. So I guess we should probably make this a reusable component if we're being responsible. Touch date picker. So we've got our date picker. Date, React date picker. Oh yeah, I think that this thing needs a types date picker. Yeah. So then we will yarn add the types. Oh, not yarn. npm install. I always screw that up. Do any of you guys use like yarn and npm and pnpm because I'm currently in that state and I'm sort of going a little bit crazy dealing with all of them. So we'll restart the TypeScript server. All right, and so then let's go ahead and routes activity areas. All right, so we have our activities. We have a new activity, and we need to say date picker. So that will work. Haha. All right, so now the issue, I need to actually load the CSS, and I don't think that it'll load just as is. So remix.run/docs CSS. So from what I remember, you have to specifically link it. Now I'm thinking I could just load it on the home page and just it always be there, which would be easy. App. We'll probably only see the date picker in the app. So we're going to import date picker styles from, and we'll call date picker styles, and let's see if that works. Hey, sweet. So that's that. It's not perfect, but that's all right. Index CSS input. All right, so input globals. So there's that. Not a fan of that. All right, and so the next thing I probably need to do is take this guy. It's on the base layer. Base layer. Let's put that there. That looks all right. All right, but that guy's way off, isn't it? All right, so on my new, I have the state picker. I have this guy here. I guess we'll just get rid of all that. What is missing? On change. All right, so on change date. We will just pass this on change. There's going to be a date, and return All right, so this is what I usually do. I just sort of forward things through because all that we care about, date of or null is not assigned to date. If date on change date. Oh, I guess we got to be able to say if it's null because I can set this as a null value. All right, so date picker now has an on change. All right, cool. And we're going to borrow the same pattern that I used before. So basically, we're just going to inject the date value onto a hidden input so that when we hit submit, it gets stored as a input form value. Hope that makes sense. It works well for me. And so we are going to go to area new. We're going to borrow this. We're going to use state of string. I guess it'll be string or null. And then we'll have this hidden input that does the same thing. All right, so that's good. That's good. So up here we have a use state, and we'll have date, set date, date or null to match, and then we'll have on change equals date equals set date date. Yes, very good. And then we have this hidden input type hidden, name date value date to isostring. Sure. Why not? And so what will happen is, let's go ahead and import that. Oh, I guess we can React.useState, React. The modal is not a part of activities, a new activity event. And so this becomes date, and then if no date, we're going to return the same error. So we'll say if no date. Date is required. Create event. Date. Happened at is the date. So happened at is the input. Happened at. Come on. Happened at. There we go. And so there's no name. I think it's sort of silly to say that it even needs a name. Oh, that's not it. So we'll say no name. Where is it? Event. Happened at. And I'll go ahead and put these on top. It just seems easier that way. ID created at 4. All right, cool. So make these a little bit cleaner. An event has a happened at date. Let's save it. Dude, we're doing really good on time. All right, sweet. I'm almost there. Happened at is not assignable to type date. But it is date. Look, it's right there. It says date. Type string. I guess we just want to make sure it's not null. So we'll just say if date. String or null. Well, that's not what I want either. All right, as. I guess it's an ISO string. I don't know what happens with form data dates. So if it's a form, if it's coming in as an, I guess we called it an ISO string, didn't we? So maybe we don't. Type void is not assignable to type. Yeah. So we want this to be void set date, 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 all of these things. ISO string to date. All right, so then we'll do something like this. I don't know this is a great idea, but we'll find out if it works. We can take this date and we can say new date. Come on. I just need the overlap of typings to be valid. All right, argument of type null is not assignable. I know it's not. If date. Golly, this always drives me crazy that this can't be asserted here. All right, whatever. This is going to work. All right, so then otherwise, we will say 5 something went wrong. I'll just be generic with the 500 just in case. Just sort of protecting my code just in case it doesn't work. All right, so then this will be activity/activity. I guess this is the event, activities. Okay. That doesn't play nice, does it? Activity when this all goes away. We'll say date. Name, date, name, date, name, date. All right, so then my error, date, string, and then on my date picker, I'm going to do width full and margin bottom 2. And why can't I select it? I guess. Am I getting an error? A component is changing an uncontrolled input to be controlled. Likely caused by the value changing from undefined to a defined value. Yes, I know. Alright, so then how the hell do we fix it? I think all we're going to have to do is... Where's my hidden input? Hidden input value, date to string, date... Here it is. Date, null, date, value, hidden date, date, change set date, blah, blah, blah. All right. Can I do this? All right, yes, I know how all this works. So, then what do we want to do to fix it? Component is changing to an uncontrolled input to be controlled. Yeah, that's usually what I do. I just set the value, which we see px push. Generate. I guess we'll go to the docs. React date picker. It may selected start date, state, no date. Oh. Oh. Perhaps we do this. Perhaps we don't do a hidden component or hidden input. Perhaps we just excuse me. All right, so we're gonna do this. On change selected date. On change set date. Alright, so React.c state date or null. Alright, so date or null. I really don't want it to be nullable, but I guess for now I have to deal with it. Alright, and then name date. Why don't we just keep it simple? I can always improve on this code later. Data, property name is missing, but create. This should be fine now, right? Yes. All right, so we have our happened at, activity, user. Oh, so close. All right, so instead of this hidden value, this guy goes away, this guy goes here. Delete till that. And then we don't deal with that anymore. No more errors. Ha, there's an error here. We can't pick find first. Right, we can't pick the activity by its name if we remove the field. So let's go ahead and activity server, name true, event happened at. I guess that's it. I may have to restart it. Back to events. Save. I can change it. I can hit save and nothing happens. Oh boy. Bad request. 400. All right, so then yes. Name doesn't exist anymore. Remember, we removed it. All right, so now we hit save, data is required. So console log dates. Let's see what happens. When I hit save, it's going to say data is required, and our server says it doesn't say. So this is the action. So we'll look up user ID, activity ID. We'll get the form data. We'll get the date out of it. I think for sanity's sake, I'm going to restart the server. I have found generally when using Prisma that I have to restart the server for things to play nice. But let's see if the 400 error is going to be more clear. There's the date. Probably need a strict comparison to be correct. It was saying it was false even though it wasn't. All right. And then on my index, I need this to be happened at. I already know where I'm going with this. So the last thing we want to do is install datefns, which is my favorite library. npm I datefns. And we're going to format. And we're going to say I. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to format happened at from datefns. Argument of type string is not assignable, so we'll say new date. All right. Wednesday, that's today. So class name, disk. I think it's list disk. Margin left 4. Look at this. Look at this. Wednesday. What does this mean? Local day of versus standalone versus ISO. All right, so we'll do month. Formatting, Jan. Day of month, due. Let's go ahead and make this E. And then I guess year. Am I going the wrong way? I am. Okay, so these are pre-made. Combination of date and time. Nah. extended year, calendar year, and GitHub Copilot wants to give me the format. All right, so this is maybe not the most efficient way to render it, but that's okay. Wednesday, July 27th. The last time I washed it was, I actually know. Give me a moment. All right, chat, I will be right back. All right, this is the final step. This feels good. Okay, come on. So I have a little app that tells me generally where I go and what I do. So we're going to play around with this a little bit. June 29th. June 17th. June 7th. And what I'm thinking of doing is exposing API keys, letting users create API keys, and then I could tell Siri, I'm at the car wash. And when I say that, I could automatically add an event to this app. And so it just sort of happens. It doesn't just sort of happen, but it is an interesting way of implementing something like this. And so now we see, boop, all these events. And so we can go, these are the events. So I can go back to car, tire rotation, and I got a rotation like, oh gosh. I think that's going to be an issue, is going back lots of dates. Oil change. And so I can sort of cross-reference my calendar. This is for my eyes only, thank you. And this would have been so this is the thing. I don't love going through my calendar. So June 18th. June 18th. So I know that I did this in February. I don't know exactly when. Maybe like this. And so in the future, we will be like visualizing this with like charts and stuff. So let's see. Dentist. Cleaning. March 28th. Instead of March 28th. I also want March 7th. So I definitely want to sort by date. That's a very important part of all of this. 12, 11? No way. That's a 10-year gap. All right, so I'm not thinking that's worth logging. Travel, vacation, when did I last go? Oh, well, actually, I just went. And now this becomes a useful one where a vacation, I want to know how many days I went on vacation for. So that's kind of useful. And I may also have put this in wrong, which I just did just now. And so I may want to be able to edit that as well. The last conference I went to. GatsbyConf 321. And I could mark if it's online or in person. And so, like, again, I could start to see how this could be really interesting and useful to expand on this more. So vet. These are cute. All right. Spell vet. I do not know how to spell that word. Ted. For sure, Ted. All right. So vet. $12, $14, $21. So just useful to have. More importantly is grooming. Pet wash. Oh my gosh, these are cute. Grooming. All right, so we will say Anna. She got groomed on 5/13. So we'll do all right. So there's a few quality of life things that would be useful with this grooming. So we decided we want to sort by date in a certain order. So let's go to dentist, cleaning. March 28th should be at the top only because we specifically asked for it at the top. So sweet. Events, select, sort. Sort by, order by, okay. Order by, happened at descending. All right. So we definitely want to order by descending. And I generally, this is a generalization, but I want to say activity index. So we will say if activities events length, then do this. And then if not, no events found. Keep it nice and simple. So some of these, like brushing my teeth, no events found, and we're gonna put the unordered list here. So brushing, I've never had an event for brushing. Seems like maybe a silly one. So cleaning, flossing, no event, cleaning, found event. All right, so let's see. The thing I want to do is create a div. And I literally just want to say div last happened. I want like distance. Format distance. Event activity. Events 0 happened at. All right, let's see how this goes. Last happened here. All right. Last happened 4 months. Options, add suffix. Add suffix true. Cool. So like the thing that is useful to me is like the dog's grooming was 3 months ago. And so, hey, I should probably do it again soon, right? Walk, no found. 8 months ago, she went to the vet. Finances, taxes. I don't know about taxes. I actually don't know how I'm going to use all of those yet. But car, wash, about a day ago. Inspection, 5 months ago. Oil change, about a month ago. So this is just interesting to me. And I think I might end up showing it on this page. So I just want to see like tire rotation last happened a month ago. That to me could be useful. But it's not a big deal, kind of going back and forth here. All right, so then we're going to go here. Let's see if it's struggling to deploy and how come. And that's the top of the hour. So that's exciting. All right, so this is failing. So this is probably Font Awesome related, and so I can't do this on stream. but I will be deploying this tonight. So that's exciting. And I will be pushing the database changes as well. I can't show all of that because it's just sensitive and I don't want anyone accessing that stuff. But this was really, really good progress. Let's kind of jump over here. Thanks to whoever stuck around. A couple of interesting thoughts. I really appreciate all of the support that I've been getting with my YouTube videos. And I will be talking about dot files soon. I'll be talking more about tmux. And yeah, so this has just been a really fun ride. I really enjoyed it. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm going to get that blog post out this week and get all of these features that I've just shipped up and running on production. And I just can't wait to see what happens. So everybody, have a good one. See you later.